Good evening, I'm David Brown, and welcome to the Northern Sun Experience. For the first time since their NAIA days, the University of Sioux Falls hosted a playoff game last week, and the Coup made the most of their opportunity as they took down Azusa Pacific in round 1 of the D2 postseason. And as the second seed in Super Region 3, USF got the chance to host another playoff game, and the 12-0 Cougars welcomed the 12-0 Bisons from Harding University in Arkansas. Points hard to come by early on. USF's Brett Garner nails a 29-yard field goal. Cougars had a 3-0 lead at the end of one. Harding would get on the board early in the second. Park Parrish keeps it on the option from 2 yards out. Bisons take a 7-3 lead. Sioux Falls responds later in the second. Luke Papillion keeps it himself on the 3-yard run. Cougars retake the lead at 10-7. But Harding would mount a drive right before halftime. Bisons don't pass much, but Parrish finds Luke Bowser off play action with 16 seconds left in the second. Harding up 14-10 at the break. Third quarter, the back and forth continues. Papillion rolls to his right, stops and hits Brady Rose in the end zone, 12-yard strike. USF is back up 17-14. Fourth quarter, Cougars extend the lead. Papillion pumps and fires a beauty to Kyle Groenweg, 28-yard pitch and catch. Sioux Falls leads 24-14 with 10 minutes to go. But Harding would stay strong in the face of adversity. On 4th and goal at the 1, Parrish goes off right tackle and into the end zone, cutting the USF lead to 24-21 with 4 minutes to go. Cougars can't run out the clock, so Harding gets one last drive to win or tie. Going for it all here, but Josh Butler cannot corral the interception. So Tristan Parsley is on to try a career-long 47-yard field goal in the final seconds, and the wobbler just gets over the crossbar for the tie. We're heading to overtime tied at 24. USF gets the ball first in the extra frame, but Papillion's pass is picked off by Ben Shields. That means Harding can win with any points on their next possession, and the Bisons would do just that. Parsley's kick from 35 yards out is good, and the Cougars are undefeated no more. Harding tops Sioux Falls in a heartbreaker, 27-24. USF is eliminated from the Division II playoffs and ends its season at 12-1. So unfortunately for USF, their season ends in the second round, but there is one more NSIC football game left this season on Saturday. Bemidji State will take on Washburn in the 51st Annual Mineral Water Bowl on December 3rd in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. The NSIC representative has won 4 of the last 5 Mineral Water Bowls. Bemidji State has one career appearance in the game, losing to Pittsburgh State out of Kansas in 2006. When we come back, we'll switch gears to NSIC basketball to take a look at the men's preseason polls and see an early candidate for Play of the Year.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. As the calendar turns toward December, basketball season slowly starts to take over the NSIC. The men's side of things will look a little bit different this year. Despite the presence of defending national champion Augustana, the Vikings lost arguably their top 3 players of all time in Dan Jansen, Casey Schilling, and Alex Richter to graduation. But Augie is still getting a little bit of love in the preseason polls. Taking a look at the overall numbers, the Vikings finished second among NSIC coaches with 2 first-place votes. Minnesota State is the preseason favorite with 11 first-place votes. St. Cloud State and MSU Moorhead tie for 3rd overall, with the Dragons getting 1 first-place vote. Winona State is 5th and Sioux Falls is 6th with 1 first-place vote each. After USF, Northern State and Southwest Minnesota State are 7th and 8th. Looking at the back half of the poll, Upper Iowa, UMary, and Concordia St. Paul are 9th through 11th respectively. Minnesota Duluth and Minot State are tied for 12th, followed by Bemidji State, Wayne State, and Minnesota Crookston. As far as the preseason players of the year in the North Division, it's St. Cloud State's Gage Davis. The redshirt sophomore was last season's NSIC Freshman of the Year, as well as a first-team NSIC selection. Davis was 5th in the conference in scoring, averaging 19.7 points per game, and 3rd in the NSIC in rebounding at 8 per contest. In the South Division, it's Minnesota State senior John Fuqua. A second-team All-NSIC selection last season, Fuqua averaged 15.7 points per game, while leading the Mavericks in rebounding at 7.7 boards a contest. Fuqua also led the Mavericks in shooting percentage, hitting nearly 56% of his shots. Early candidate for Game of the Year between Northern State and MSU Moorhead Saturday, Justin Decker nails the three for NSU, but the Dragons would come right back. Aaron Lean strokes it from the left elbow. He led the Dragons with 28 on the night. The star of the show, however, for Northern State was Mac Arvidsson. He nails the three part of his 37. He had 9 3-pointers en route to a new career high, including one right here. Wolves and Dragons in a back-and-forth affair. Northern State's down by 1 in the final seconds. DJ Pollard is stripped, but he dives on the floor to get it to Arvidsson, who hits the three. 2.1 seconds left, and the Wolves have a 2-point lead. But they left too much time for Tanner Kretschman, who takes the inbounds and heaves it just inside half court and buries it. Take another look. Kretschman gets some space and has plenty of momentum to nail the 40-footer. MSU Moorhead wins a thriller over Northern State, 93-92. The preseason favorite from Minnesota State traveled to St. Cloud to take on the Huskies Saturday. Early on, MSU's leading scorer creating plays. John Fuqua layup plus the foul to give the Mavs the lead. Later in the half, Minnesota State with the ranges. Joey Wittes nails one of his 3 3-pointers. Huskies would try and keep pace. The handoff to Gage Davis, clear for a liftoff and the slam. And then it's Davis with the handles and the pull-up from the right elbow. He led St. Cloud State with 17, but the Mavs would be too much. Cole Harper nails the 3, and Minnesota State tops St. Cloud State 79-62. Battle of the North Dakota schools between Minot State and UMary. Early on, the kick out to Brian Jefferson for 3. He had 17. And then a little bit later, more outside shooting as Aaron Collins hits from the left elbow. A 3-point barrage in the first half for the Marauders. DeMonte Henry getting in on the action. He led UMary with 19. Later on, however, Marauders would push it inside. Henry misses the layup, but Jefferson is there to clean up the mess. And that strong inside-outside game would continue in the second half. This time, Jefferson does it all by himself. And then later on, Henry regains his shooting stroke from the outside. And then a little razzle-dazzle. How about the alley-oop to Luke Scott for 2? Marauders start the conference season with an 81-72 victory over Minot State. When we come back, we'll take a look at the women's preseason basketball polls and see how the early favorites stacked up in their conference openers. And welcome back. On the men's side of the basketball preseason polls, there wasn't really a close contest for the top. The overall point total between number 1 Minnesota State and number 2 Augustana was 30 points. On the women's side, however, it was much, much closer. And in the end, it was Winona State with a 1-point difference over Northern State. The Warriors are the preseason favorite, but barely. Winona State finished with 7 first-place votes and 201 total points, while Northern State came in second with 3 first-place votes and 200 total points. The Warriors and Wolves are also the respective favorites in the NSIC South and North divisions. Augustana finishes third with 4 first-place votes, followed by Wayne State in 4th and MSU Moorhead in 5th. Minnesota State is 6th, but did receive 2 first-place votes. Concordia St. Paul and St. Cloud State round out the top half at 7th and 8th. Last year's NSIC tournament champions from Sioux Falls are 9th, followed by Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota Crookston, and UMary. Minot State is 13th, while Bemidji State, Southwest Minnesota State, and Upper Iowa round out the back half of the poll. The preseason players of the year are both juniors this season. In the North Division, it's Northern State's Jill Conrad. A second-team all-conference honoree last season, she led the Wolves in scoring, 3-point field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. In the South Division, it's Wayne State's Paige Ballinger. A first-team All-NSIC selection last season, Ballinger averaged 15 points, nearly 6.5 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks per game. The preseason favorites from Winona State hosted Upper Iowa Saturday, and the Warriors would come out of the gates quickly. Jenny Tuttle spots up for 3, and no, this is not a replay, just same spot and same result. A little bit later, check out the moves from Tara Roloff's behind the back turnaround jumper is good. Second half, nice execution from the Warriors as Hannah McGlone is all alone for the mid-range jumper. And then McGlone shows off her defensive side, closing in for the block, and then putting it in at the other end. Winona State over Upper Iowa, 78-61. Northern State hosting MSU Moorhead. Wolves coach Kurt Frederickson recently won his 800th game for the Wolves. Miranda Ristow with a hook inside, and then it's Ristow again in the post, getting the hoop plus the foul. She had 12 for Northern State. The Wolves' sets and cuts usually find easy baskets like the one here for Bethany Crossway, but MSU Moorhead would beat Northern at its own game. Drew Sanis gets the friendly roll. She had 15 on the night. And then it's Megan Hintz with some big points off the bench. She hits just before the shot clock expires. Dragons win a defensive struggle 51-44. St. Cloud State hosting Minnesota Duluth Saturday. Bulldogs showing some range early on. Sammy Kozlowski nails the three. She led UMD with 12. But St. Cloud State would do more than keep up from the outside. Betsy McDonald nails one of her 4 3-pointers on the evening. The Huskies would put on a clinic Saturday. Nice movement to Amanda Christensen for the triple. And even when the shots don't go in, St. Cloud State not afraid to keep trying. Off the miss, the kick out to McDonald for another 3. The Huskies had 3 starters in double figures, led by Chelsea Nooker with 24. She buries the 3 there. And then some defense as McDonald gets ahead of the pack for the lay-in. St. Cloud State over Minnesota Duluth 84-65. Last year's conference tournament champions Sioux Falls travel to Southwest Minnesota State. Off the rebound, it's Sam Connect trailing and Sam Connect connecting from the top of the key. USF with an early 7-2 lead. Later in the first, more transition bombing from the Cougars. Maddie Robson over to Kaylee Hummel for 3. USF led 24-14 after 1. Second quarter, a little more of the same for the Coup. Robson fires the left-handed pass over to Hummel for another 3. And then Robson just decides to do it herself. Off the long miss, the transfer from Omaha does a little stutter step and takes it in for the wide-open layup. Cougars start the conference season strong with a 75-40 victory over the Mustangs from SMSU. Mary and Minot State doing battle on Saturday. Nice feed down low early to Gabby Bull. That's what happens when you're 6'3". The Marauders are up early. Shot clock running down for Minot State, but that's no problem for Carrie Clemens, who nails the 30-footer. She had 20 for the Beavers, but the Marauders would have a little more push inside. Off the miss, Rachel Weir gets the rebound and the putback. And then it's the hometown kid from Bismarck, Hannah Larson, with the turnaround. She had 12 for Mary. Moving to the second half, great execution from the home team. The drive inside and the feed to Bull. She led all scorers with 29 on the night. She gets 2 more here on the feed in the post. The redshirt freshman could be a key for Mary down the line as the Marauders top the Beavers 67-54. When we come back, we stick with basketball as our Under the Northern Sun campus alumni feature spotlights a recent Minnesota Crookston basketball graduate. And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time once again to name new members to the NSIC's 25th anniversary team. Congrats to former Bemidji State field athlete Joe Remitz. The former Beaver had a lengthy list of accomplishments in his time at BSU, including 7 individual NSIC championships and 12 All-NSIC honors. A 7-time All-American, Remitz finished his career as the 2008 Division II national champion in the shot put. Congrats are also in order for former Concordia St. Paul volleyball player Amanda Knechi. Part of the Golden Bears dynasty that won 7 national championships in a row, Knechi was a 4-time first-team All-Region selection, a 3-time AVCA All-American, and holds the NSIC record for assists per game at 13.8. Well, former Minnesota Crookston basketball player Katrina Nordick has always had a strong work ethic. It started on her parents' dairy farm and remains there today. In this week's Under the Northern Sun alumni feature, Katrina discusses going back home to continue her parents' legacy.
A year ago, Katrina Nordick was opening up what would turn into a stellar senior season on the basketball court, in which she would lead the Golden Eagles to a program best in wins and a second consecutive trip to the NSIC Sanford Health quarterfinals in Sioux Falls. Now a recent graduate of the University of Minnesota Crookston in applied studies with an emphasis in animal science and education, Nordick is back to where everything started on the family dairy farm outside of Perham, Minnesota.
Just after I first went to college, I just really missed the farm a lot. It was just something I realized I kind of wanted to do for the rest of my life, so it's been great to be back and be back at home and around family and everything, so it's just been really nice.
After getting married in the summer of 2015, Katrina and Josh Nordick spent their first year of marriage apart as Katrina was finishing up her degree in basketball at UMC and Josh was finishing up his degree at Bemidji State.
Yeah, it's awesome just after being apart for the first 8 or 9 months of our marriage, now being back home together. It's pretty awesome not having to drive or just see each other every other weekend like we did for the first 8 or 9 months, so it's been super awesome just to be back home and be together finally.
Katrina takes us through what a day on the dairy farm is like for her.
Well, the day starts early, 5 a.m. I'm up milking cows, so that takes about 2.5 hours. So then I come in, and if I'm subbing that day, be to school by 8 and sub all day long, and then go to practice for about an hour. I have to cut practices short and get home to milk again at night. So I mean, pretty busy unless I don't sub some days, and then I'm just kind of home during the day and taking care of things in the house. But other than that, it's pretty much all.
Even though she is loving life on the dairy farm with Josh and her family, Katrina has great memories of the last 2 years helping lead the Golden Eagles to back-to-back NSIC Sanford Health tournaments.
It was awesome. I think about my whole career, but especially those last 2 years, like you said, really stand out. And I mean, a big part of that, I think, was just the respect that my teammates and we all developed for each other and for our coaches. Everybody just pretty much bought in, and yeah, they're awesome memories I have from especially those past 2 years.
During her time at UMC, Katrina had success on and off the basketball court as she was a 2015-16 COSIDA Academic All-District selection. She owes a lot of her success to the great staff members at UMC who helped set her up for success at UMC and beyond.
The professors and the teachers I had, they just really taught you how to just value relationships, and some of them I still have relationships and still, be in touch with them right now. And just the small campus and the friendly atmosphere of everybody there, it just really taught you to value people and create a network and a web of people that you're always going to be in touch with and that will always be there for you. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Through her experience as a Golden Eagle, Katrina forged relationships off and on the basketball court that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, I've gained, tremendous relationships. Like you said, Alexa, she's probably my best friend still right now. We talk all the time. And Megan, I just talked to her the other day too. And Michaela, and Evan, Ashley, the list goes on and on. There's a handful of them that have come to the farm and stayed with me for a weekend, and I still plan on going back to some games and watch some of those girls this year that are still playing. So yeah, the relationships that I've gained and built from being on that team are awesome.
A major contributor to Nordick's success on and off the basketball court was the relationship she had for all 4 seasons with her head coach Mike Roislin, a relationship that continues to grow to this day.
He really teaches you about basketball, but he teaches you about life and what's important in it, and the importance of valuing relationships and the importance of being loyal to people and trustworthy. And I have a great relationship with him still now. And there's nobody else I would have rather played for in college. He's one of my favorite coaches probably ever that I've ever had, and I have a ton of respect for him. And the list, I could go on and on the list of how much he's taught me about life and just everything. So he's a great guy, great coach.
Katrina shares a piece of advice to anybody that is considering Minnesota Crookston as one of their college choices.
Just that, college is a scary thing. You don't know what you're going into, and UMC is the place where you're going to be taken care of. There's people there that care about you. Whether you're on a team or not, the professors there care about you. You're your own person. You're not just a number, like we always say at another university. You're a person, and they know your name, and it's just, you feel like welcome there, and you feel like it's a home after only a couple short weeks, and that was probably the most comforting thing.
And as a quick capper to that piece, Katrina and Josh just found out they're having a baby, so congrats to the future new parents. When we come back, a preview of the Central Region Volleyball Tournament and a look ahead to the Volleyball Championships in Sioux Falls.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. We taped this show earlier, but as of now, the Central Region Volleyball Tournament is underway on the campus of Concordia St. Paul, with every matchup featuring at least one NSIC school. Here are those quarterfinal matchups. At noon, the 6-seed Augustana took on number 3 Nebraska Kearney. At 2:30, number 2 Southwest Minnesota State battled number 7 Wayne State. At 5, another all-NSIC matchup as the 5th-seeded Warriors from Winona State took on the number 4 Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. Then late Thursday night, it's the host school, number 1 Concordia St. Paul, taking on number 8 Southern Nazarene out of Oklahoma. The semifinals will take place on Friday, December 2nd at 5 and 7:30 p.m. The championship is Saturday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. And the NSIC has a 75% chance of advancing a school to the Elite Eight, which will take place this year at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls. Since its opening in the fall of 2013, the Pentagon has hosted numerous big-time events, including last year's Elite Eight in Division II women's basketball. And as part of the lead-up to December 8th, the championship trophy is making its way around Sioux Falls, including right here in our Midco Sports Network office. The executive director of the Sioux Falls Sports Authority, Brian Miller, says the trophy tour is designed to get people excited about the volleyball championships and to help promote the city of Sioux Falls.
You do the normal marketing through the various media, but I think this is kind of a unique idea to allow us to kind of show the trophy off and also promote the championships at the same time. We're very excited about having it here, and I think we'll have a very good opportunity to fill the Pentagon, the Sanford Pentagon, and for all 3 days. I think it allows us to kind of show off the city, show off kind of what the facilities are all about, and then also provide a great opportunity for those living here or traveling here to be a part of a championship experience, something that maybe they wouldn't be able to have without us bringing these championships here.
Once again, the Division II National Volleyball Championships, featuring the top 8 teams in the entire country, comes to Sioux Falls December 8th through the 10th. Maybe an NSIC school will be there, but we'll have to wait and see until December 3rd to find out which one it could be. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their time, video, and contributions to this week's show. We'll have a complete recap and highlights of the Central Region Volleyball Tournament next week on an all-new Northern Sun Experience.